The group Physicians for Human Rights faulted Bangladesh authorities for, quote, arbitrary arrests, illegal expulsion, and forced internment of Burmese refugees. The group described the refugee camps as open-air prisons. A high-ranking United Nations official advised Monday against the deployment of full-body scanners at airports. Martin Shainin, the UN Human Rights Council Special Rapporteur on Counterterrorism, said the scanners are more of a political response to terrorist attacks than a carefully designed security measure. Shainin's comments come just days after the Transportation Security Administration announced that 11 more U.S. airports will receive body scanning technology. Shainin said technologies that intrude into privacy tend to be ineffective in preventing terrorism.
Full-body scanners are ineffective in detecting a genuine terrorist threat if they do not reveal dangerous substances in body cavities, body folds, or in hand luggage. They may also give a false feeling of security and allow the real terrorists to adapt their tactics to the technology in use.
15 Midwestern towns and cities have sued the manufacturer of a popular weed killer over drinking water contamination. The weed killer Atrazine, manufactured by Syngenta, is commonly used in Midwestern cornfields. The lawsuit was filed by towns and cities in Kansas, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, and Iowa. Atrazine has been banned in the European Union since 2004, but here in the United States, about 80 million pounds of atrazine is used each year. A recent study found the weed killers can turn male frogs into females. The chemicals in the weed killer atrazine disrupt development and make frogs develop both male and female features. An environmental group is challenging plans by the Interior Department to classify sage grouse as merely a candidate for protection under the Endangered Species Act and not list the bird as threatened or endangered. The group Western Watersheds filed the complaint Monday. Sage grouse are football-sized birds that live in the sagebrush in California, Colorado, the Dakotas, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, Washington, Wyoming, and Western Canada. The numbers of sage grouse have declined by 90% over the past century. Energy companies have hailed the Interior Department's decision not to list the sage grouse as threatened or endangered because it opens the way for continued development of the West Wind's energy and oil and gas industries. In Wyoming, large areas of sage grouse habitat also are prime spots for natural gas development. Meanwhile, the Center for Biological Diversity has criticized the Obama administration for adding just 2 species to the endangered list over the past 13 months. Rob Mrauka of the Center for Biological Diversity said, quote, to date, the Obama administration has not improved on the Bush administration's progress in providing protection to the nation's most endangered species. During his 8-year tenure, Bush protected a mere 62 species. This compares to 522 protected by President Bill Clinton. And the longtime conservationist Edgar Wayburn has died at the age of 103. He was a former president of the Sierra Club who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In the 1950s and 60s, he led the movement to create the Golden Gate National Recreation Area in and around San Francisco. In 1980, he helped win passage of the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act, which created millions of acres of national parkland. In his later years, Edgar Wayburn advocated for conservation on a global scale.
One thing I've learned in the past 30 years is no matter how much and how complete protection we may attain for areas in the United States, if we don't go outside the United States for protection of the areas of the land and the water and the air and the people, that we've lost the war on the environment.
And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Last year's failed